The distress call. Captain Zix stood motionless on the bridge of the Starweaver, her six eyes fixed on the swirling chaos of the cosmic storm outside. The ship's bioluminescent panels flickered weakly, mirroring the fading hope in her heart. They had ventured too far, pushed too hard in their quest for knowledge, and now they were paying the price. Status report, she chittered, her mandibles clicking with anxiety. First Officer Lunny slithered forward, her serpentine body coiling tightly in distress. Captain, the quantum core is destabilizing. We've lost 70% of our power, and life support systems are failing. At this rate, we have less than 3 solar cycles before total shutdown. Zixera's antennae drooped. The Starweaver, once the pride of the Galactic Concordat's exploratory fleet, now drifted helplessly in an uncharted sector of space. Its crew of 12, representing 6 different species from across the known galaxy, had volunteered for this mission to push the boundaries of explored space. Now, it seemed, they had pushed too far. Velox, Zixera called to her chief engineer, a gelatinous being pulsing with neural activity. Any luck with the quantum core? Velox's form rippled in frustration. Negative, Captain. The storm has irrevocably damaged the core's dimensional stabilizers. We lack the resources to repair it out here. The captain's compound eyes surveyed her crew. Each face, whether scaled, furred, or composed of pure energy, reflected the same grim reality. They were stranded, millions of light years from the nearest outpost of their civilization. Krelox, Zixera turned to her communications officer, a crystalline entity that shimmered with every movement. Send out a distress call on all frequencies. Someone must hear us. Krelox's facets dimmed slightly. Captain, our long-range communications array was damaged in the storm. Our signal won't reach beyond this sector. A heavy silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the soft, erratic humming of failing systems. Zixera felt the weight of command pressing down on her exoskeleton. She had led her crew into this situation. She had to find a way out. What about the ancient frequencies? She asked, an idea forming in her mind. The ones we were tasked with monitoring as part of our mission. Krelox brightened slightly. They're still operational, Captain, but those frequencies haven't been used in millennia. The chance of anyone monitoring them is astronomically low. At this point, astronomically low odds are better than no odds at all, Zixera declared. Broadcast our distress call on every ancient frequency we have. Someone somewhere might just be listening. As Krelox began transmitting their desperate plea into the void, Zixera retreated to her quarters. Once alone, she allowed her composure to slip, her exoskeleton fading to a dull gray. On her datapad, she pulled up an image of her homeworld, Sarzix Prime. The spiral continents and bioluminescent oceans filled her with a bittersweet longing. She had promised her broodmates she would return with tales of incredible discoveries. Now she might never see them again. Zixera shook off the melancholy. Her crew needed her to be strong, to hold on to hope even when logic suggested otherwise. Hours passed, each moment bringing them closer to their doom. The mood on the bridge grew increasingly desperate as every attempt to boost their signal or extend their supplies met with failure. Just as Zixera was about to order power diverted from life support to the engines in a last-ditch effort to reach a habitable system, Krelox's excited voice cut through the gloom. Captain, I'm receiving a response. Zixera's antennae perked up, hope surging through her. On screen now. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that left the entire crew speechless. The being on the screen was unlike anything they had ever encountered. It was bipedal, with soft, pinkish skin and a tuft of dark fur on top of its head. 2 forward-facing eyes blinked at them in what seemed to be equal amazement. This is Captain Elena Chen of the Earth ship Prometheus. The creature spoke, its words automatically translated by the Starweaver systems. We received your distress call. How can we assist you? A collective gasp rippled through the bridge. Earth? They had never heard of such a world or its people. Yet here they were, answering a call on an ancient frequency, offering help to complete strangers. Zix-Era stepped forward, drawing herself up to her full height. This is Captain Zix-Era of the Starweaver, representing the Galactic Concordat. We are in dire need of assistance. Our quantum core has failed, and our life support systems are critical. Captain Chen's expression softened with concern. Understood, Captain Zix-Era. We're preparing to rendezvous with your vessel. Our engineers are standing by to assist with repairs, and we have ample supplies to replenish your life support. Please stand by for docking procedures. As the transmission ended, Zix-Era turned to her stunned crew. She saw her own mix of relief and trepidation reflected in their diverse faces. They were about to make first contact with an unknown species, one that had appeared out of nowhere to answer their desperate call. Whatever happens next, Zix-Era addressed her crew, her voice steady despite her racing hearts. Remember this moment. We stand on the threshold of a new chapter in galactic history. Let us greet these Earthlings with open arms and open minds. As the Prometheus drew near, its sleek design unlike anything in the Concordat's database, Zix-Era couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would change the course of galactic history. Little did she know just how right she was, or the crucial role these humans would play in the challenges that lay ahead for the entire galaxy. The Starweaver's crew watched in awe as the Earth ship maneuvered with incredible precision, its size dwarfing their own vessel. As the docking procedure began, Zix-Era straightened her posture, ready to greet their unexpected saviors. The next few moments would shape the destiny of two civilizations, and perhaps the entire galaxy. Humanity's response. Captain Alina Chen stood at the helm of the ESS Prometheus, her eyes fixed on the alien vessel that hung suspended in the void before them. The Starweaver was a marvel of bioengineering, its hull a seamless blend of metal and living tissue that pulsed with a faint ethereal light. Dr. Yoshida, Chen called to her chief science officer, "What can you tell me about their ship?" Dr. Akira Yoshida's fingers danced over his holographic console, his eyes wide with excitement. "It's incredible, Captain. The ship appears to be partially sentient. I'm detecting neural pathways integrated throughout its structure. Its technology far beyond anything we've ever encountered." Chen nodded, a mix of awe and apprehension settling in her stomach. Humanity had long wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, on what was supposed to be a routine deep space expedition, they had their answer. "Lieutenant Rodriguez." Chen turned to her tactical officer. "Any signs of hostile intent?" Rodriguez shook her head. "Negative, Captain. Their weapons systems, if they have any, are offline. They appear to be running on minimal power." "Good," Chen said, straightening her uniform. "Let's hope this first contact goes smoothly. Commander Walsh, you have the bridge. I'll lead the boarding party." As Chen made her way to the airlock, accompanied by Dr. Yoshida and a small team of engineers, she couldn't help but reflect on the magnitude of the moment. Humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel only a decade ago, and in that short time, they had expanded their reach across several star systems. But this was beyond their wildest expectations. The airlock cycled, and Chen stepped onto the Starweaver. The interior was a kaleidoscope of bioluminescent colors and strange, organic shades. And there, waiting to greet them, stood the most diverse array of alien life forms Chen had ever imagined. Captain Zix-Era stepped forward, her insectoid form both alien and somehow regal. "Captain Chen, on behalf of the Starweaver and the Galactic Concordat, I welcome you aboard. Your timely arrival has saved us from certain doom. We are eternally grateful." Chen bowed slightly, a universal gesture of respect. "The honor is ours, Captain Zix-Era. Humanity has long hoped to make peaceful contact with other intelligent life. We're glad our first encounter could be one of mutual aid." As the two captains exchanged formal greetings, the human engineers were already moving past them, their eyes wide with wonder as they took in the alien technology around them. "If you don't mind," Dr. Yoshida called out, barely containing his excitement. "We'd like to take a look at your quantum core. We might be able to help get you up and running again." First Officer Lenny slithered forward, her serpentine body coiling slightly. "Our technology is highly advanced," she said, a hint of pride in her voice. "I'm not sure if—" "Oh, don't worry." One of the human engineers grinned, already halfway down a corridor. "We love a good challenge." Captain Zixera chittered in what Chen hoped was amusement. "You'll have to forgive them," Chen said. "The chance to study new technology is like a holiday for our engineers." As they made their way to the Starweaver's bridge, Chen couldn't help but marvel at the diversity of the alien crew. Each species seemed perfectly adapted to their role on the ship, from the crystalline communications officer to the gelatinous chief engineer. Once on the bridge, Zixera began to explain their mission of exploration, the malfunctions that had stranded them, and the distress call they had sent out on an ancient frequency. "Ah yes," Chen nodded. "That particular frequency is part of an old Earth protocol. We've kept it active for centuries, just in case. I guess it finally paid off." Krelox, the communications officer, shimmered with curiosity. "But how did you respond so quickly, and from such a great distance?" Chen's eyes sparkled with pride. "The Prometheus is equipped with an experimental quantum slip drive. We can cover vast distances in a fraction of the time it takes conventional ships." The alien crew exchanged looks of astonishment. Quantum slip technology was theoretical at best in the galactic Concordat, yet here were these humans casually mentioning it, as if it were commonplace. "But enough about us," Chen continued. "We're more interested in learning about you and the galactic Concordat. We had no idea there was such a vast community of spacefaring species out here." For the next few hours, they exchanged information. Zixera spoke of the dozens of species that made up the Concordat, their shared history, laws, and customs. In return, Chen told them about Earth and humanity's rapid ascent to the stars. "We were confined to our solar system for centuries," she explained. "But once we cracked FTL travel, there was no stopping us. We've been exploring ever since, always pushing further into the unknown." As they talked, reports started coming in from around the ship. The human engineers, working alongside the Starweaver's crew, were making astounding progress. Systems that had been on the brink of failure were now humming with renewed energy. Velox, the chief engineer, oozed onto the bridge, his gelatinous form rippling with excitement. "Captain Zixera, the humans, they've not only repaired our quantum core, they've improved it. We're detecting a 30% increase in efficiency." Zixera's antennae rose in surprise. "How is that possible?" Chen smiled. "As I said, our engineers love a challenge. They probably couldn't resist tinkering a bit." The implications of this were staggering. In a matter of hours, these humans had not only understood but improved upon technology that had taken the Concordat centuries to develop. As the day wore on, more and more of the Starweaver's crew found excuses to interact with the humans. They were fascinated by these strange beings who seemed to approach every problem with boundless enthusiasm and creativity. In the ship's mess hall, a human chef had taken over the kitchen, whipping up dishes that catered to the diverse biological needs of the alien crew. In the recreation area, humans and aliens alike were engaged in animated conversations, sharing stories, and comparing cultures. Zixera watched it all with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The ease with which the humans had integrated themselves was both impressive and slightly unsettling. They seemed to have a knack for putting others at ease, for finding common ground even with species that looked nothing like them. As the repair work neared completion, Chen approached Zixera. "Well, Captain, it looks like your ship will be spaceworthy again in a few hours. We'd be happy to escort you back to Concordat space." Zixera's scales rippled with gratitude. "Your generosity knows no bounds, Captain Chen. But I must ask, what do you want in return for all this?" Chen's smile widened. "Knowledge, Captain. The opportunity to learn about new cultures, new technologies, new ways of thinking. That's always been humanity's driving force, curiosity. As Zixera considered this, alarms suddenly blared throughout both ships. Krelox's voice came over the comm system, tight with urgency. "Captain, we're detecting a massive energy surge nearby. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Zixera and Chen exchanged a look of shared concern. Their newfound alliance was about to face its first test, and the fate of both their crews hung in the balance. As they rushed to their respective bridges, neither could have imagined the incredible journey that lay ahead, or the profound impact their chance encounter would have on the fate of the galaxy. Cultural exchange and technological marvel. The alarms blaring through both ships turned out to be a false alarm, a glitch caused by the integration of human and Concordat technologies. As the engineers worked to smooth out the incompatibilities, Captain Zixera and Captain Chen found themselves with an unexpected opportunity for more in-depth cultural exchange. "I propose we use this time to learn more about each other," Chen suggested, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "It's not every day you get to sit down with representatives of an entirely new civilization." Zixera's antennae twitched in agreement. "An excellent idea, Captain Chen. Perhaps we could arrange a series of presentations. Each of our crew members could share aspects of their culture and scientific knowledge." And so began an impromptu symposium unlike any other in the history of either civilization. The mess hall of the Starweaver was quickly converted into a lecture space, with crew members from both ships eagerly attending. Dr. Yoshida kicked things off with a presentation on human history and scientific achievements. The Concordat crew listened in rapt attention as he described humanity's journey from cave-dwelling primates to spacefaring explorers. "But it wasn't all smooth sailing," Yoshida explained. "We had our share of wars, environmental crises, and near-extinction events. It was only when we unified as a species and focused on space exploration that we truly began to thrive." Velox, the gelatinous chief engineer, oozed forward. "Fascinating. Your species' resilience is remarkable. But tell us, how did you achieve quantum slip technology? We've been theorizing about it for centuries." Yoshida's face lit up. "Ah, that's an interesting story. It all started with a breakthrough in quantum entanglement." As Yoshida delved into the intricacies of human FTL travel, Zixera couldn't help but notice the intense focus of her crew. They were absorbing the information at an incredible rate, already discussing potential applications and improvements. Next up was Lani, the Starweaver's serpentine first officer. She gave a comprehensive overview of the Galactic Concordat, its founding, member species, and governing principles. "The Concordat was formed over a millennium ago," Lani explained, her sinuous body swaying gently as she spoke. "It began as a trade agreement between 3 spacefaring species and grew into the galactic community you see represented on this ship." Lieutenant Rodriguez, the Prometheus's tactical officer, raised a hand. "You mentioned earlier that you have non-corporeal member species. How does that work in terms of interaction and governance?" Lenny's scales shimmered with pleasure at the insightful question. "Excellent query. We use a combination of advanced holographic technology and psionic interfaces to ensure all species, regardless of their physical form, can participate fully in Concordat affairs." The exchange continued, with crew members from both ships sharing knowledge on everything from astrogation techniques to culinary traditions. The humans were particularly fascinated by the Concordat's bioengineering prowess, while the aliens marveled at humanity's innovative approach to problem-solving. As the symposium progressed, smaller groups broke off for more specialized discussions. In one corner, Dr. Yoshida and Velox were deep in conversation about the potential fusion of quantum slip technology with the Starweaver's bioneural interfaces. "If we could integrate your quantum algorithms with our organic computing systems," Velox bubbled excitedly, "we might be able to achieve unprecedented levels of computational power and efficiency." Yoshida nodded enthusiastically. "And the applications would be enormous. More accurate long-range sensors, better predictive modeling for stellar phenomena, maybe even improvements in medical technology. Meanwhile, Captain Chen found herself engrossed in a discussion with Krelox about communication technologies. Your crystalline structure allows you to naturally perceive and transmit a much wider range of frequencies than our equipment, Chen mused. I wonder if we could develop an interface that would allow our systems to tap into that capability. Krelox's facets glowed brightly. An intriguing proposition, Captain. Such a device could revolutionize long-range space communication. Perhaps we could collaborate on a prototype. As the day wore on, the excitement of discovery and the joy of shared knowledge seemed to permeate every corner of the ship. Crew members who had been strangers mere hours ago were now excitedly planning joint research projects and cultural exchange programs. In the midst of this intellectual fervor, Captain Zixera pulled Captain Chen aside. I must confess, Alina, she said, using the human's first name for the first time, when we sent out that distress call, I never imagined it would lead to this. Your people's openness and enthusiasm. It's unlike anything I've encountered in my years of space exploration. Chen smiled warmly. That's humanity for you, Zixera. We've always been driven by an insatiable curiosity about the universe and our place in it. Meeting you and your crew, learning about the Concordat, it's like a dream come true for us. Zixera's compound eyes seemed to sparkle. I feel the same way. The Concordat has grown somewhat complacent in recent centuries. Your arrival might be just the spark we need to reignite our passion for discovery and innovation. As they spoke, a commotion near the science station caught their attention. They hurried over to find Dr. Yoshida and Velox practically vibrating with excitement. Captains, Yoshida exclaimed, we've done it. By combining our quantum slip algorithms with the Starweaver's biomural network, we've managed to create a hybrid system that outperforms anything either of our species has achieved alone. Velox's gelatinous form rippled with joy. The potential applications are staggering. Faster than light communication, more efficient energy distribution, even the possibility of opening stable wormholes for near instantaneous travel across vast distances. The two captains exchanged looks of astonishment. In less than a day, the combined efforts of their crews had produced a technological breakthrough that could reshape the future of both their civilizations. This is incredible, Chen breathed. With this technology, we could explore further into the galaxy than ever before. The scientific discoveries we could make, and the Concordat could enter a new golden age of exploration and innovation. Zixera added, her antennae quivering with excitement. As word of the breakthrough spread throughout both ships, a palpable sense of hope and possibility filled the air. Humans and aliens alike were caught up in the thrill of what this new partnership could mean for the future. But even as they celebrated their shared achievement, neither crew could have anticipated the challenges that lay ahead. For at that very moment, deep in the uncharted space around them, an ancient force was stirring, one that would put their newfound alliance to the ultimate test. The universe, it seemed, had much more in store for the crew of the Starweaver and the Prometheus. Their journey together was only just beginning, and the greatest adventures and dangers still lay ahead. The unforeseen threat. The celebratory mood aboard the Starweaver and Prometheus was abruptly shattered by a violent shudder that rocked both ships. Alarms blared as crew members scrambled to their stations. Report. Captain Chen barked, rushing onto the Prometheus's bridge with Captain Zixera close behind. Lieutenant Rodriguez's fingers flew over her console. Massive gravitational disturbance, Captain. It came out of nowhere. On the main view screen, space itself seemed to ripple and distort. A swirling vortex of energy, shot through with bolts of what looked like purple lightning, had appeared less than a light minute away from their position. By the cosmic egg, Zixera chittered, her antennae flattening against her head. I've never seen anything like it. Dr. Yoshida's voice came over the comm, tight with a mix of fear and excitement. Captain, we're detecting tachyon emissions and chronoton particles. I think we're dealing with some sort of temporal anomaly. Chen's eyes widened. Are you saying it's a time distortion? More than that, Yoshida replied. The readings suggest it's a convergence point of multiple timelines. It's as if past, present, and future are colliding in that single point of space. Another violent tremor shook the ships. Velox's gelatinous form oozed onto the bridge, rippling with agitation. Captains, the anomaly is generating gravimetric shears. They're interfering with our engines. We can't maintain our position. Chen and Six Era exchanged a grim look. Can we retreat to a safe distance? Chen asked. Rodriguez shook her head. Negative, Captain. The anomaly's gravitational pull is too strong. We're being drawn in. All hands, brace for impact. Chen ordered, gripping her command chair as the ships were inexorably pulled towards the swirling vortex. The next few moments were chaos. As they entered the anomaly, reality itself seemed to fracture around them. Crew members reported seeing ghostly versions of themselves performing actions they hadn't taken yet. Others swore they could see past versions of the ships overlaid with their present forms. When the turbulence finally subsided, an eerie calm settled over both vessels. Chen looked up to see Six Era staring out the view screen, her compound eyes wide with disbelief. Thelina. The alien captain said softly, Look. Chen followed her gaze and felt her breath catch in her throat. The stars around them had changed. Constellations were in the wrong positions, and where there had once been empty space, a massive nebula now painted the void in swirls of blue and gold. Where are we? Chen whispered. I think you mean when are we? Dr. Yoshida's voice came over the comm. Captain, based on stellar positioning and the state of that nebula, I estimate we've been thrown approximately 10,000 years into the future. The bridge fell silent as the implications of this sank in. They were stranded not just in space, but in time as well. Status report, Chen demanded, pushing aside her shock to focus on the immediate situation. Hull integrity at 87%. Rodriguez reported. Minor injuries reported across all decks, but no casualties. The Starweaver seems to have weathered the transition, as well as we did. Zixera nodded. Confirmed. My crew is shaken but unharmed. The good news, Velox interjected, his gelatinous form pulsing with nervous energy, is that our new hybrid drive system protected us from the worst of the temporal shear. Without it, we might have been torn apart. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Their cooperation had already saved their lives. And the bad news. Velox rippled anxiously. The drive is offline. The temporal transition overloaded its circuits. We're dead in the water. Captain. Before Chen could respond, Krelox's crystalline form shimmered onto the bridge. Captains, I'm detecting a transmission. It's coming from the anomaly itself. On screen, both captains ordered simultaneously. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that left everyone speechless. The being addressing them was clearly artificial, its form a shimmering hologram of interconnected geometric shapes that constantly shifted and reformed. Greetings, travelers, the entity said, its voice a harmonious blend of tones. I am the curator, caretaker of the nexus you have stumbled upon. Chen stepped forward. I'm Captain Elena Chen of the Earth ship Prometheus, and this is Captain Six Era of the Starweaver. We mean no harm. Our arrival here was an accident. The curator's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. There are no accidents in the flow of time. Captain, your arrival was foreseen and is, in fact, necessary. Zixera's antennae twitched with curiosity. Necessary for what? For the survival of all timelines, the curator replied gravely. The nexus you see before you is a linchpin of reality, a point where all possible pasts and futures converge. It has existed since the dawn of the universe, maintaining the stability of the time stream. But now, it is failing. The entity's form flickered, momentarily showing scenes of cosmic destruction. Entire galaxies winking out of existence, reality itself unraveling at the seams. If the nexus collapses, the curator continued, it will create a cascade effect that will erase not just your time, but all times. Every possible past, present, and future will cease to exist. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. The fate of all reality now rested on their shoulders. Why us? Chen asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Surely there are more advanced civilizations in the future who could help. The curator's form shimmered. You underestimate your importance. The unique combination of your technologies, the very hybrid drive system you created, holds the key to stabilizing the Nexus. Your arrival at this precise moment is the culmination of eons of careful orchestration. Zixera stepped forward, her posture resolute. What must we do? You must enter the heart of the Nexus, the curator explained. There, you will find the mechanism that maintains the stability of all timelines. You must use your hybrid technology to repair and upgrade it. But be warned, the journey will be perilous. The Nexus is a place where the laws of physics as you understand them do not apply. You will face challenges beyond your imagination. Chen and Zixera exchanged a determined look. The stakes couldn't be higher, but they had already achieved the impossible by working together. Perhaps they could do so again. We accept, Chen said firmly. The curator's form seemed to brighten. Then prepare yourselves. When you are ready, pilot your ships into the Nexus. The fate of all existence rests in your hands. As the transmission ended, Chen turned to her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination on every face, human and alien alike. I won't order anyone to come on this mission, she said. The risks air. With all due respect, Captain, Lieutenant Rodriguez interrupted, we're all in this together. Earth or Concordat, past or future, none of that matters now. We're not letting you face this alone. A chorus of agreement rose from both crews. In that moment, the last barriers between them fell away. They were no longer two separate crews, but one unified team, ready to face the greatest challenge in the history of the universe. As they began preparations for their perilous journey into the heart of the Nexus, Chen couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. What had begun as a simple rescue mission had evolved into something far greater, a quest to save all of existence itself. The next few hours would determine not just their fate, but the fate of every being that had ever lived or would ever live. As they worked, a single thought echoed through Chen's mind. Together, they just might have a chance. A new era of cooperation. The Starweaver and Prometheus hovered at the edge of the Nexus, their crews making final preparations for the perilous journey ahead. Captain Chen and Captain Zixera stood side by side on the Prometheus's bridge, watching the swirling vortex of temporal energy. Are you ready for this? Chen asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zixera's antennae twitched with a mix of anxiety and determination, as ready as one can be when facing the unknown. Your Shakespeare had it right. We are about to enter the undiscovered country. Chen smiled at the alien's reference to human literature. It was a small reminder of how much they'd learned from each other in such a short time. All stations report ready, Captain, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced. Chen nodded. Then let's make history, or save it. As the case may be, take us in, helm. Nice and easy. As the ships entered the Nexus, reality seemed to fracture around them. The laws of physics bent and warped in impossible ways. Crew members reported seeing multiple versions of themselves, echoes from different timelines performing actions they hadn't taken yet, or perhaps never would. Fascinating. Dr. Yoshida's voice came over the comm, tight with excitement despite the danger. The Nexus appears to be a confluence of all possible timelines. We're seeing quantum superposition on a macro scale. That's great, Doc, Rodriguez replied, her hands dancing over her console as she struggled to keep the ship stable. But how do we navigate through this mess? It was Velox who provided the answer, his gelatinous form rippling with sudden insight. The hybrid drive. If we modulate its output to match the temporal frequency of the Nexus's core, we should be able to plot a stable course. Working together, The combined crews of both ships managed to implement Velox's idea. Slowly but surely, they made their way deeper into the heart of the Nexus. As they progressed, they encountered echoes of history, both their own and of civilizations long forgotten. They saw the birth of stars and the death of galaxies, the rise and fall of empires that spanned millions of years. Finally, after what felt like both an eternity and no time at all, they reached the core of the Nexus. Before them floated a massive crystalline structure, pulsing with energy that seemed to flow from every point in time simultaneously. That must be the mechanism the curator spoke of, Zix said, her compound eyes wide with awe. Chen nodded. All right, people. This is it. Let's get to work. What followed was the greatest test of cooperation and ingenuity that either crew had ever faced. Human and alien alike worked tirelessly, combining their unique knowledge and skills to interface their hybrid technology with the ancient mechanism. Dr. Yoshida and Velox led the scientific efforts, their disparate minds working in perfect harmony to unravel the mysteries of the Nexus. Krelox's crystalline structure proved invaluable in communicating with the core itself, while Lieutenant Rodriguez's tactical thinking helped them navigate the treacherous fluctuations in the time stream. Hours blended into days as they worked, time losing all meaning in this place where past, present, and future coexisted. They faced setback after setback, each problem requiring a new creative solution that could only be achieved through their combined efforts. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of labor, a pulse of energy radiated out from the core. The violent turbulence of the Nexus began to calm, the fractured realities slowly knitting themselves back together. We did it, Chen breathed, hardly daring to believe it. We actually did it. The curator's shimmering form appeared before them, its geometric patterns shifting in what seemed to be joy. You have succeeded beyond all expectations, it said. The Nexus is stabilized, and with it, the integrity of all timelines is preserved. A cheer went up from both crews, the euphoria of their success temporarily overwhelming the exhaustion of their ordeal. But this is more than just a victory for existence itself, the curator continued. Your cooperation, the seamless blending of your knowledge and cultures, has opened up new possibilities that even I, with my ability to see all of time, had not foreseen. The entity's form shifted, showing glimpses of a future filled with wonders. Humans and members of the Galactic Concordat working side by side to unlock the secrets of the universe. New technologies born from the fusion of their ideas, peaceful exploration of realms beyond anything they had imagined. You have done more than save reality, the curator said. You have given it new paths to explore, new potentials to fulfill. And for that, all of existence owes you a debt of gratitude. As the visions faded, the curator turned its attention to the two captains. It is time for you to return to your own time. The repaired Nexus will ensure your safe journey. But know this, the bonds you have forged here will echo through eternity. The future of both your peoples is brighter for having been intertwined. With a final pulse of energy, the Starweaver and Prometheus found themselves back in their original time and place, mere hours after they had first encountered the temporal anomaly. As the two ships drifted side by side in the vastness of space, the crews took a moment to reflect on their incredible journey. They had faced the ultimate challenge together and emerged not just victorious, but fundamentally changed. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Captain Chen turned to Captain Zix. So, what happens now? She asked. Zix's antennae twitched in what Chen had come to recognize as a smile. Now, my friend, we embark on the greatest adventure of all, building the future we glimpsed in the Nexus. Chen nodded, a smile spreading across her face. I couldn't agree more. There's so much for us to learn from each other, so many new frontiers for us to explore together. In the days and weeks that followed, as the Prometheus escorted the Starweaver back to Concordat space, the two crews laid the groundwork for a new era of cooperation between humanity and the Galactic Concordat. Treaties were drawn up, cultural exchange programs were established, and joint scientific ventures were planned. The hybrid technology they had created to save the Nexus became the foundation for a new age of exploration and discovery. As news of the encounter spread, both human space and the Concordat buzzed with excitement. The promise of new friendships, new knowledge, and new possibilities captured the imagination of trillions of beings across the galaxy. Months later, at a historic ceremony marking the official alliance between Earth and the galactic Concordat, Captain Chen and Captain Zixera stood side by side, watching as representatives from dozens of species mingled and chatted excitedly. "You know," Chen said, leaning in conspiratorially, "when I joined Starfleet, I never imagined I'd end up saving all of reality and ushering in a new age of galactic cooperation." Zixera's antennae twitched with amusement. "And I never imagined that sending out a simple distress call would lead to all this. I suppose the universe has a way of surprising us." "That it does," Chen agreed. "And I can't wait to see what surprises it has in store for us next." As they raised their glasses in a toast to the future, both captains felt a profound sense of optimism. They had seen the potential of what they could achieve together, and they were determined to make that bright future a reality. The journey that had begun with a plea for help had transformed into something far greater, the dawn of a new era of cooperation that would shape the destiny of the galaxy for millennia to come. And it was only the beginning.